Green tea burns fat. Drink it, and the weight falls off. You believed it, so you drank it every day. After 3 months, how much did people actually lose on average? Under a kilogram. You didn't drink it wrong. Your body isn't stubborn. That tiny number isn't your failure. It's the trace of a crime. Someone stole most of that fat-burning promise and left behind a sliver of truth. The body detective takes this case. The victims, you and your wallet. Here's the question. The whole case turns on, does green tea truly burn fat, or did someone inflate a very small truth into a very big promise? The first clue is on the tea box in your hand. One line of small print. It isn't lying, it's just carefully not telling you everything. The box says it supports fat burning and boosts metabolism. Sounds like a guarantee. It's actually a sentence written very carefully so no one can sue. This case has 2 suspects wearing the same name, green tea. One is the cup you brew. The other is a concentrated extract sold like a diet pill. They are not the same thing. Every year, people pour serious money into the drink it and shrink promise. Not because they're foolish, because it touches something tired in all of us, the wish to change without the struggle. And here's where the case gets interesting. This rumor isn't pure invention. There's a real grain of truth at the bottom. The question is just how small it is. To find who's telling the truth, we open the body's file. We watch what's in the leaf do. Once it hits your blood, the next clue is 2 names. Those 2 names, catechins and caffeine. They're the 2 main active compounds in green tea and the 2 central characters in this whole case. Remember them. Among the catechins, there's a star abbreviated EGCG. Marketing loves to call it the fat killer, but the suspect whose name gets shouted the most isn't always the culprit. Let's be honest up front, the science on EGCG and fat still has a lot of unsettled corners. Anyone who tells you it's definitely proven is saying more than the evidence allows. The fat-burning promise rests on a reasonable idea. These 2 compounds may nudge your body to spend a little extra energy even at rest. The idea isn't wrong, it's just small. And that word, a little, is the heart of the case. Marketing takes the real, a little, erases it, and writes, burns in its place. Same fact, a completely different story. So, where did the green tea diet belief even come from? It didn't appear from nowhere. It has an origin and a moment when it got inflated. Let's trace it back. Maybe this was you. You bought a slimming tea, drank it faithfully, for weeks, stepped on the scale and nothing. Then you blamed yourself. Hold on, you may have taken the blame for someone else. Let's be clear, so no one misreads this green tea isn't the bad guy. It's a good drink. What's under investigation is the promise stuck onto it, not the leaf itself. The plan: first find where the rumor started. Then put the studies on the scale, the ones that back it, the ones that push back. Finally, measure how big the truth actually is. We start with the oldest clue: 1 lab, 1 cup of tea, and a small finding that got stretched into an entire industry. Let's go. The original clue sits in a batch of older studies on thermogenesis, the body making heat and spending energy. They found that drinking green tea made the body burn a little extra. Real and measurable. Marketing cheers at this point. See, it burns energy. But the detective has to ask the question that matters most: how much extra? The answer is surprisingly humble. And here's the first turn. Most of that extra burn doesn't come from catechins alone. It shows up when catechins ride together with caffeine. Take the caffeine out, and the effect drops noticeably. One meta-analysis pooling 15 studies showed something striking: catechins on their own, without caffeine, produced almost no change at all in weight or waistline. So the question flips: what helped you burn a bit more? A special leaf or just caffeine? The same stuff in a cheap cup of coffee? The suspect's outline starts to show. In fairness to the leaf, some studies still find catechins add something of their own beyond caffeine. The truth here isn't black and white. It's both contribute a little and both are small. The proposed mechanism is fairly simple. These 2 may help the body lean a bit more on fat for fuel and nudge metabolism up slightly. The keywords stay the same: a bit, slightly, a nudge. The problem: happens at the leap. In the lab, they measure a slight rise over a few hours. On the package, it becomes melts away belly fat. Same data, two different worlds. Who profits from that leap? Not the scientists. They still write modest effect in the report. The profit goes to the seller. The hype is a business model, not a scientific conclusion. Now we have enough to bring both suspects in for questioning the cup you brew and the concentrated extract capsule. Same name, but the dose is worlds apart. Which one's more dangerous? Suspect 1, an ordinary brewed cup. A few cups a day puts a moderate natural amount of catechins into you. This is the gentlest suspect in the case, almost harmless. Suspect 2 is far more formidable, the extract capsule. It crams the catechins of many cups into one small pill. Same compound, but the dose jumps many times over. This is the one worth watching. And right at that dose jump hides a twist marketing never prints on the box. It has to do with your liver. We'll open that piece of evidence later. Back to how the rumor traveled. From a few lines in a health magazine to a celebrity's mention to an ad repeated over and over, a small effect said often enough starts to sound like truth. Here's a crucial trap. A sentence repeated 1,000,000 times isn't truer than one said once. How often you've heard it is not evidence. Only data is evidence. There's a strange geographic clue. Many of the prettiest results for green tea come from studies in Japan. Elsewhere, the numbers are far paler. Why would the same leaf give two different answers? A few possible explanations. Japanese studies often used higher catechin doses paired with a different diet, and caffeine metabolism can differ by genetics. No one's certain, but the gap is suspicious. Here's where we tread carefully. People who drink lots of green tea often live healthier, overall balanced meals, more movement. If they're leaner, is it the leaf or the whole lifestyle? Very hard to separate. Because it's so hard to separate, we can't trust surveys like tea drinkers are slimmer. We need controlled trials. Split two groups differ only in the tea. That's the evidence we're about to open. Coming up is the heaviest part of the case. Put the serious trials on the table. Read the numbers straight, no rounding to taste. Brace yourself. The truth is smaller than the ads, but far more interesting. Two questions we need to answer in numbers. 1. How many kilos does green tea actually drop? Is that enough to see on the scale, or just enough to print on a box? A small idea that saves you from being fooled. Statistically significant does not mean meaningful in real life. An effect can be real and still be too small to change anything for you. Picture it this way. If a whole summer of steady tea drinking makes you lighter by about the weight of one meal, that effect is real, but it isn't something to pin your hopes on. The AD's trick fits in one line: state the part that's true, it works, and hide the part about how little. Not a single lie, yet you walk away misunderstanding everything. That's the art of the half-truth. Don't feel deflated. Knowing something only helps a little isn't bad news, it's power. It lets you stop spending on magic and put your energy where it actually moves the scale. The strongest evidence we're about to open is a big pooled review gathering many trials run by an organization famous for being strict. The number they found will nail down the whole case. Why trust a pooled review over a single study? Because one study can get lucky, gather many, and the noise cancels out, and what's left sits closer to the truth. So when you pool dozens of trials, thousands of people tea for 12 weeks, how far did the scale actually move? The numbers about to appear. And it's smaller than you think. To be fair before the numbers, even if green tea is weak for weight loss, it's still a wholesome drink. Whether it's a fat furnace and whether it's good for you are two completely different questions. The file is open. Both suspects are seated. The question is sharp. Now it's time to match the real evidence and read the number the ads don't want you to see. The case truly begins now. The strongest review has a name: Cochrane, a group that grades medical evidence, famous for being hard to please. They pooled 14 trials, over 1,500 overweight participants drinking green tea for weeks. The result, after all those weeks: on average, They were under a kilogram lighter than the placebo group, about 9/10 of a kilo, not 9 kilos, not 5, under 1. But here's the detail that nails the case. Cochrane wrote it plainly that small effect didn't even reach solid statistical significance. In other words, it's small enough that it might be nothing but noise. Let it land for a second. The strictest body pooling. The most evidence concluded green tea may help you lose weight, but so little it's almost unmeasurable. That is not a fat furnace. You may have heard a bigger figure, something over a kilogram. True, another analysis found roughly that. The detective hides no number. But even the highest figure is still just over a kilogram after 3 months. So the entire span of evidence fits inside a modest range from almost nothing to a little over a kilogram. That's the whole miracle. Same truth whichever end you grab. Don't convict the wrong thing. Small doesn't mean a lie. This effect may be real, it's just not big enough on its own to change your shape. Those are two different things. But one strange line in the Cochrane file makes the detective stop writing. When you split the studies by where they were run, the picture cracks in two. One half tells a completely different story from the other. The split goes like this: studies run in Japan and studies run elsewhere. The two groups gave visibly different results. Same leaf, yet like two separate cases. In the studies outside Japan, the number was essentially 0. The weight gap between tea and no tea was so small, a few dozen grams, it amounted to nothing. In Japan, some studies showed much bigger drops, a few kilos in places. It's these prettier numbers that got quoted again and again, leaving the impression green tea is stronger than the real average. The detective circles the question, why would location swing the result this much? If the leaf truly burns fat, it should burn it the same in Tokyo or Paris. Geography shouldn't matter unless there's a hidden variable. Suspect, explanation, 1 dose. Japanese studies often used higher catechin amounts, sometimes as concentrated extract, rather than a few weak cups. Different dose, different result, that's ordinary. Suspect, explanation, 2 background. Green tea in Japan comes bundled with a different way of eating more fish, less processed food. It's hard to know if the credit belongs to the leaf or to the meals around it. And here the detective stays honest. No one knows for sure which explanation is right or whether all 3 are partly right. The point isn't the why, it's that an unstable result isn't worth betting on. But there's a bigger, hidden variable running through every study in every country. An accomplice always present in green tea that everyone forgets to name: caffeine. Remember the 2 molecular suspects. Now we interrogate caffeine more closely, because it does the very thing catechins get praised for, nudging up the rate you burn energy. So whose credit is it? Another meta-analysis. Pooling 15 studies, over 1,000 people, asked exactly this separating question. Catechins with caffeine versus catechins without which one actually does the work. The result with caffeine. Alongside, there was a small drop, about 1.5 kilograms on average, plus a slightly smaller waistline. Sounds okay? But before you celebrate, look at the other half. The other half nails it with catechins alone. No caffeine. The effect nearly vanished. No meaningful weight loss, no meaningful waist change. Stripped of its accomplice, the leaf is almost powerless. So the detective floats a blunt hypothesis. Much of green tea weight loss may just be caffeine wearing a tea leaf coat, and caffeine you can get from coffee far cheaper. Fair again, this doesn't erase catechins. The pair may work better together than either alone, but it shatters the myth of a magic leaf compound that burns fat by itself. There's no lone hero here. The implication for you is very practical. If you buy a caffeine-free green tea extract pill thinking it burns fat, the evidence suggests you may be paying for almost nothing. And don't rush to caffeine's side either. Caffeine's bump to energy burn is also small, and the body adapts over time. No side in this case is a hero, just a pile of tiny contributions. To understand why every number stays stubbornly small, we have to look straight at the body's energy burning machine. to see exactly where green tea can reach and where it can't. Picture the body as a daily energy budget. Most of that budget goes to basic living, heart-beating lungs, breathing, brain running. This part you can barely touch. Green tea acts on just a razor-thin slice of that budget, the little extra you burn at rest. Nudging that slice up a few percent sounds grand, but a few percent of a thin slice is still crumbs. Put the number on the exam table. The extra energy burn studies measured, converted to a day, is usually just a few dozen kilocalories. A bite or two of a small snack. That's the ceiling of the magic. Now compare it to what actually moves weight, how much you eat, and how much you move across the day. Those two govern the budget dozens of times more than the thin slice tea reaches. Elephant versus ant. So the drink it and shrink promise was almost bound to be small biologically, not because tea is weak, but because the spot it acts on is already a tiny corner of the energy picture. Physics won't allow the magic. Someone says, but tea makes me less hungry. Maybe the fullness from a warm drink and caffeine is real for some people, but that's an eating habit story, not the leaf burning fat. Don't blend the two. In fairness, if an unsweetened cup replaces a sugary snack, you may genuinely eat fewer calories. That's how tea can help indirectly through your choices, not through fat-burning sorcery. By now, the brewed cup is nearly cleared, gentle, low harm, helpful in small, habit-sized ways. But the second suspect still sits in the dark. Now we turn the light on its face. Suspect 2, the concentrated extract capsule, the one sold as powerful fat burning. Remember, it packs the catechins of many cups into one dose, and this high dose hides the case's most dangerous evidence. A major European Food Safety Agency reviewed it when the key catechin EGCG from pills reaches 800 milligrams a day or more. Blood tests showed signs of liver injury in some people. Here the two suspects finally part ways. The same agency concluded ordinary brewed tea is generally safe. The EGCG from a few cups a day sits far below the danger threshold. Side by side, a few cups a day deliver roughly 90 to 300 milligrams of EGCG. A high-dose extract pill can push that near or past 800. Same compound, two different worlds of safety. And here's the case's bitter irony. The pill you buy to slim fast is both the one with the weakest weight loss evidence and the one with the highest risk. You pay more to get more risk in exchange for less benefit. To state it accurately without scare tactics, this kind of liver harm is rare, usually tied to high doses over time or a sensitive constitution. Most users won't hit it, but rare isn't never, and you can't know in advance if you're the sensitive one. One practical detail from the reviews. The risk looked higher when the extract pill was swallowed on an empty stomach. Taking it with food seemed to ease it. If someone uses it anyway, that's worth knowing. And some groups should avoid high-dose extract pills entirely. People who are pregnant or breastfeeding, those under 18, and anyone with liver disease. For them, let's just try it is not a safe option. One more, small but useful clue: catechins can block the absorption of plant-based iron. If you're prone to iron deficiency anemia, don't drink strong tea right up against a main meal. Spacing it a few hours apart is fine. So the two same-named suspects have shown their two faces. The cup, gentle, safe, small benefit. The extract pill, the benefit just as small, but carrying added risk. The verdict is taking shape. Step back and read the whole clue board. Cochrane's tiny number results that split by region, the big credit going to caffeine, a mechanism that touches only a thin slice, and the high-dose pill's risk. 5 clues all pointing one way. And don't let headlines like "green tea drinkers live longer" pull you off track. It may be true, but those are broadly healthy people. Drinking tea can be a sign of a good lifestyle, not necessarily its cause. Our brains love a tidy story, one drink, one miracle, one answer. But the body doesn't follow tidy stories. Resisting the pull of an answer that's too pretty, that's a survival skill. Careful in the other direction too. The evidence doesn't say green tea is useless or don't drink it. It only says don't lean on it as a weight loss tool. Drinking it because you like it because it's wholesome, that's a good enough reason. The case is nearly closed. The culprit isn't a single figure, but an edited story. Take a small truth, delete the word small, and sell what's left at a premium. Now it's time to name the full truth. Before the verdict, the detective keeps to principle. The science on green tea is still moving. We may one day know more about dose, about who it suits. Today's truth is small and unsettled, not closed forever. The evidence is spent, the clue board is full. Next, the detective peels this half-truth layer by layer, where it's right, where it's inflated, and exactly where the line you need to remember falls. Time to lift the curtain. The case now has enough to rule on. Before the detective reads the verdict, recall the opening question: does green tea really burn fat? The answer isn't yes and isn't no. It's yes, but that little but is the whole case. This isn't a bald lie to expose, it's a half-truth to peel. Peel it wrong and you throw out the true part too. Peel it right and you keep it. So instead of a dramatic twist, the detective works more carefully, peeling this half-truth into layers. The outermost is the marketing skin. The deeper you go, the closer to what's real. Fair warning, a half-truth is less satisfying than a spectacular twist. It won't give you the aha, I was fooled rush, but it gives you something better, an accurate map to walk on yourself. The investigation room lights dim. The stage lights of truth come up. The detective sets the half-truth on the table, picks up a scalpel and begins peeling the first layer. Layer 1, outermost, the ad line, burns fat, drink it, and shrink. This is the false layer. Evidence doesn't stand behind it. Peel it off. Any product promising real weight loss from tea alone is selling you this layer. Layer 2 boosts metabolism. This one's half right. Tea does nudge energy burn up a little real, but a little gets read as a lot. Keep the nudge, throw out the leap. Layer 3, deeper, most of that little nudge comes from caffeine, not the leaf alone. This is the truth, few print on the box. Keep it, it explains why caffeine-free pills are nearly useless. The innermost layer, the true core, green tea is a wholesome, near zero-calorie drink that can support weight loss very modestly, mainly by taking the place of sugary drinks. This part is worth keeping whole. And here's the line to carve into memory. The whole case in one sentence: green tea is a small companion, not a main tool. It accompanies eating and movement. It doesn't replace them. The verdict on the two suspects: the brewed cup innocent, even a good friend. Drink it freely if you enjoy it. The high-dose extract pill, sold as a wonder cure guilty, promises much, delivers little, carries risk. If you once bought a fat burner pill and felt let down, you're not foolish. You were sold a marketing layer designed to sound like science. Now that you know, no one can sell you that layer again. Maybe you know someone who truly lost weight while drinking tea. Very possible, but almost certainly they also changed meals, walked more, slept better. The tea stood beside them and took the credit. The real credit belongs to those changes. A half-truth is more dangerous than a bald lie because it has a real scrap to cling to. The defense isn't to doubt everything, it's to ask one question: true, but how big? The question, true, but how big, she works on almost any health rumor. Collagen, apple cider vinegar, superfoods, same structure, a real scrap blown up into a promise. You've just gained a metal detector. To be completely fair to the leaf, let's name its genuine upside apart from weight loss. It hydrates, has almost no calories, carries antioxidants, and swapped in for soda, it's a healthy trade. But, and the detective must say, but, again, don't let this upside swell into a new rumor. Green tea doesn't cure disease or magically detox. It's just a decent drink, and that's good enough. There's a hidden cost to miracle chasing that no one counts. Every time a wonder cure lets you down, you believe a little more that something's wrong with your body. it erodes your trust in yourself. So this small truth is really a gift. It frees you from the buy, disappoint, blame loop. Nothing is wrong with your body. It's just that no one sold you a real shortcut because it doesn't exist. The detective closes the file and rules green tea is neither culprit nor hero. The real culprit is the inflated story around it. The case is closed, but the part that matters most to you is just beginning. Because knowing the truth without knowing what to do with it is only halfway. The final, most practical question. So what should you actually do with the cup, with your wallet, with your goal? The detective won't prescribe a replacement miracle. There's nothing to sell you. What's coming isn't a product, it's a few small habits, real and free. The clue board comes down. The magnifying glass is set aside. The detective pulls a chair close and speaks to you like a friend. Here's what I'd actually do if I were you. Prescription 1: the easiest drink green tea if you enjoy the taste. A few cups a day is safe for most adults. Drink it because it's pleasant, not as if it were a diet pill. Prescription 2: where tea genuinely helps, use it as a swap. Trade a can of soda or a sugary milk coffee for an unsweetened cup. Tea's real weight loss power lives in this substitution, not in the leaf itself. Prescription 3: to protect your wallet and liver, skip the high-dose extract pills sold as fat burners. The benefit evidence is thin, the risk is real. If you still want to try, take it with food and ask a doctor first, never on an empty stomach. Prescription 4: the part that actually moves the scale, pour your energy into the elephant: total food and movement. Sleep enough, walk more, eat more vegetables and protein. This is where effort is worth investing. Prescription 5: the most important and the cheapest shift, the mindset. Stop hunting for one single thing to save you. The body changes through many small habits stacked patiently, not through one magic cup. And the detective is honest one last time. This advice isn't as shiny as drink it and shrink. True, the truth rarely sparkles, but it's the only thing that's really on your side for the long run. One reminder before we close this video is general information, not medical advice. Please talk to your doctor for a diagnosis and treatment that fit your situation, especially if you're pregnant, breastfeeding under 18, have liver disease or take medication. Ask a doctor before using any green tea extract pill. For you, caution isn't overthinking. Now back to where it all began. The opening question: you drank green tea every day, believing it burned fat. So after 3 months, what does the scale say? The honest answer: the scale barely moved. But now you understand why, and it's no longer an accusation against you. That small number isn't your failure. It's just the truth about the leaf. And here's the real victory of the case. You didn't lose many kilos, but you lost something else: the confusion. Next time someone sells you a miracle in a cup, you'll smile and ask, true, but how big? The detective does one last thing, hands you the magnifying glass. From now, you're the detective of your own body. No one understands your body better than you once you hold the right question. A proper cup of tea doesn't need to carry any weight loss promise on its shoulders. Set that burden down and your cup gets lighter, and for the first time you enjoy it for exactly what it is. A few lingering questions. The detective answers fast. What about matcha? Isn't it stronger? Matcha is richer in catechins since you drink the whole leaf. But it's the same story, a bit stronger, not more of a miracle. Does tea before fasted exercise burn more fat? A few small studies suggest caffeine helps you train a bit harder, but the benefit comes from the workout, not the leaf. And remember, extract pills on an empty stomach are where liver risk runs higher. So, how much tea is too much? For brewed tea, the margin is wide. Several cups a day is usually fine. If you notice sleeplessness, a racing heart, or an upset stomach, that's caffeine telling you to ease off. Listen to your body, not the ads. And the detective notes a real thing. Everyone metabolizes caffeine differently. Some feel pleasantly alert. Some lie awake all night from one late afternoon cup. There's no right dose for everyone, only the right dose for you. If only one sentence from this video stays with you, let it be this green tea is a small companion, not a main tool. Carve it in, and you're immune to a whole shelf of slimming teas. And carry your detector, true, but how big? Those few words turn you from a gullible buyer into a level-headed detective. Not blind faith, not blanket doubt, just asking until you see the real size. One more thing, gently if you want to change your body. I hope you do it from caring for it, not hating it. Your body isn't a suspect, it's the client the detective always stands beside. Plenty of rumors, still wait to be examined. Collagen pills, intermittent fasting juice, detoxes, each has one real scrap and one inflated layer. We'll peel them case by case, layer by layer. But you don't have to wait for the detective for the next case. You already hold the magnifying glass. Facing any health promise you can ask, find the real size and decide for yourself. That's the whole point of this channel. The takeaway you can use tonight if you like: tea, drink it, tasting good is reason enough. Don't buy fat burner pills. Don't expect the scale to move from the leaf. Put your energy into meals, sleep and steps. And keep one corner of your mind open. Science keeps moving. In a few years, we may understand better who catechins suit at what dose in what way. Today we say exactly what we know today, and we'll update as we learn more. The fact that you watched this far asking questions instead of swallowing the rumor whole is what keeps your body a little safer every day. That clear-eyed curiosity is the best shield you have. So tonight, if you brew a cup of green tea, brew it the way you would for a friend. Warm, unhurried, with no expectation of magic. That's the most correct way to drink tea that science actually supports. The case closes exactly where it opened. A cup of tea, a question, and you now, the detective of your own body. See you at the next case.